When I think about indeterminacy across fields or forums, I quickly think of an article by Jed Rubenfeld called the Anti-Discrimination Agenda. I found this to be a very insightful article. I responded to it in a journal article I wrote a while back. Rubenfeld looked at 2 points in history in which it seems like judges were using a lot of discretion to decide which forum to use in a particular case. First, he talked about the Lochner era. A pretty standard story about the Lochner era is that the justices in that period were generally hostile to labor and to labor unions, okay? And very much in favor of businesses and business owners, particularly corporations. Rubenfeld made the following claim. He said, if you look closely, there were many instances and many important cases where the justices had some choice of which forum to sort the case into. And they seemed to systematically sort cases into the forum where it was easiest to get an argument in favor of the business owners against labor. Now, one possible explanation of this is that the judges had an idea that radical labor unrest was a huge threat to the peace of the country, and that encouraging it was going to be damaging to the public as a whole. And so, they tended to consciously or unconsciously sort things out in accordance with that concern. He then goes on to talk about the Rehnquist Court and how it dealt with cases involving anti-discrimination laws. Again, it seemed to Rubenfeld that the Rehnquist Court had a certain amount of objection to anti-discrimination law, or at least thought it had gone much further than it should go. And they very much wanted to curb the extent of anti-discrimination law. And one of the ways they managed to do that was by more or less systematically, but not necessarily consciously, sorting various cases into different fields or forums, which made it basically the field or forum that made it easiest to strike down the anti-discrimination law. So that's an example in which someone looks at a set of cases and says, it seems like the judges are choosing their forum based on this underlying concern. Okay? And what we need to do is recognize that the judges were using a lot of discretion to decide which forum they put the case into.